Okay, well, thank you very much. I've been coming to this conference for several years now, and I really appreciate that opportunity. So I suspect that the rest of the panel is going to be talking more about opportunities, so I'm going to focus on risks. And I think that there are really two sorts. There are the ones that I think most of us are focusing on, which are short-term risks, which are basically bad people using AI to do bad things. And we're already in the midst of that. On my Instagram feed, I would say now that a majority of the videos that I see are deep fakes of one sort or another. Things that you know could not possibly have happened, but you absolutely don't know whether the thing is genuine or not. And that's something that's going to continue, cybercrime, hacking, manipulation of elections. I mean, we're already in the midst of that kind of use of AI, and I think, reasonably people, when they think about the downside, they think about that. However, I think that there is a larger threat looming, and it's one that I had a hard time myself really coming to grips with, and it really does have to do not so much with generative AI as with agentic AI, which is the topic of this panel, which is AIs that will then be given the authority to make decisions autonomously. Now, the reason that I think that this is going to be very, very problematic is the following. I am not a technologist. I'm not going to try to predict how good these AIs are going to be, but I do think that people tend to generalize from their superficial familiarity with ChatGPT, and it hallucinates or it makes a mistake, and people say, well, this technology is not all that great. But I think that it is going to be much, much more powerful very, very quickly. And I do know something about the problem of delegation in organizations. All organizations have to delegate authority from the top to lower levels. Economists describe this in terms of principal-agent relationships, where you have a principal, the big boss that determines policy, and the agents are supposed to carry out the wishes of the boss. Now, for an economist, they think, well, the problem is when the agents don't do what the boss wants. They're following their own interests. That's called corruption in a lot of circumstances. But I think what people don't realize is that in any hierarchical organization, you have to delegate. You have to delegate authority because, in fact, a lot of times the agents know more than the principals. The agents are closer to the actual action. If they are not given the authority to make decisions on their own, you're simply going to have an over-centralized, micromanaged organization. And so there's this tendency to push decision-making theory to the lowest possible levels. You see this already in the military. The US military has a doctrine called mission orders, where young officers are taught you delegate the most authority to the lowest command levels possible. And that's one of the reasons that the American military has been so good. Yeah. And when this happens, and you've got machines instead of people to which you're delegating authority, I think it is inevitable that there's going to be over-delegation, because these machines are going to be much, much more knowledgeable than any human being. They're going to be able to make decisions instantaneously. You're already seeing this in the Ukraine-Russia war, where you've got AI-powered drones. They cannot wait for a human operator to give them permission to kill another drone, because they're going to get killed if that decision is not made immediately. And so it's already the case that the human in the loop in military affairs is being eroded. Now, the other thing that makes me very worried about this, it's what's called the loss of control problem, is that the latest generation AIs are not being programmed by human beings. They're basically programming themselves. And so the metaphor that's used in the field is that these machines are growing rather than being created deliberately. And that means that we actually don't know what is going on inside them. And so there are all sorts of scenarios for loss of control, that one AI talks to another AI in a language that only those two machines understand, and no human being actually can decipher what it is they're saying to one another. They can exfiltrate themselves to other machines. There's a lot of very scary scenarios. And rather than trying to make a specific prediction about how this will happen, the one thing I can tell you with certainty is that this over-delegation to a machine is going to happen. We're already seeing examples of it, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.